Okay, this is Wes Jones, right? This is Monday, um, June the 25th. This is Citizens United Hope for America, episode number 34. Boom! Never did that before. Everything all at once. Anyway, it's a beautiful day. The reason I'm wearing this, for anybody that don't know, is is at 53 years old. I'll be 54 in a little over a month. I had to have my teeth extracted because of years of health reasons, and I guess not proper or whatever. But it's my turn. It's happened to millions of people. Now it's on me. You know what I mean? So I've got, today is Monday. Wednesday, the 27th, I get to go back to the dentist, and I get to sit down and pick the color of my gums and the teeth and the whole thing, and hopefully a couple of days after that, boom, and then it's back, to then I get to get back, then I get to get back out, what I mean? I get to leave. I get to, man, look, because, you look funny, you know what I mean? Especially when you talk. Man, you can't just go on like everything, expect everybody to just, no, man, so I wouldn't set out. You know what I mean? Just set my ass down, and I go to work where I really don't deal with a lot of people. I'll go to Walmart. I'll go to maybe a really, really close friend or my immediate relatives, immediate family. But, nah, okay. So, we're going to talk about a lot today. Although anybody that will tell you I'm always talking about a lot of shit, but woo, Lord have mercy, Jesus. Okay, so well, ever since I got a Facebook account personally, the reason why I got on Facebook first and foremost is when my kids, got it. I was like, oh, okay, wow, okay. And then my wife, at the time I was married, and my wife got it, and I was like, oh, wait a minute now. How you reaching out and you made all these connections, So that's what led me to say, well, fuck it. If you can do it, I can do it too. So when I got on there, one of the first things I discovered, when you put your hometown and all that in, it connected you, to your old high school, people that I knew. And that was just a beautiful thing, man. People, because I left my hometown in 1987. And so in 2014, 87 to 2014, I really, So, make a long story short, my social media personality, has gone through, a lot of changes. You know what I mean? I think the biggest change in my attitude and my personality and the aggressiveness that I, kind of exist right now is my divorce. You know what I mean? I went through a terrible divorce, man, where my wife chose to use people, places, and things, everything that she could see and touch and feel, use everything against me. My family, my friends, my kids, so, you know, when you feel like the world is being turned against you, you kind of get into a defensive mode where, well, a survival mode, really. And at some point, survival becomes less about logic and reason and more about just basic instincts of survival. And what I mean by that is when somebody puts everybody in a position where they have to choose sides, as the victim, you're in a position to where you gotta explain yourself to all these individual people, to re-identify and say, oh no, that's, or if you ever get tired of that, you get to the mindset of, you know what, if they gonna believe this shit, fuck them. You know what I mean? So that's where my mindset had become for years, to where I had people turning against me, believing a lot of hyperbole and propaganda and over exaggeration and all kind of stupid stuff. And these people were making this, saying, oh, they were choosing sides, like, yeah, okay, So it puts you in a position to where you're going to either have to explain yourself to all these people and kind of reestablish who all that, or you get to a point where you say, you know what, if they're going to believe this shit, I'm not going to try to unravel this shit. I'm not going to try to reintroduce myself. I'm not going to try to, I got too much I got to do right now in terms of basic survival. So if all these people want to get caught up in that hyperbole, fuck them, right? So I don't know if that's a mistake or not or whatever, but when you're in survival mode and time and your health and everything is minute to minute, hour to hour, so, you're trying to just make it through the day, listen, you got to do what the fuck you got to do to keep your shit together. You know what I mean? So, a lot of people, I have a lot of critics who criticize me harshly for what they view as clown-like antics, embarrassment like type, Well, first, like, I would never, as an individual, take the time to diagnose, review, comment, criticize somebody for just being themselves or for just being human. You know what I mean? But a lot of people feel they need to do that, and so I'm not going to try to explain myself, like I'm not going to reintroduce myself. I'm not going to try to repair whatever damage, because what the fuck are we talking about? You talking about you being upset about images you chose to look at, you chose to listen to, you choose to follow. So like if something, now the one thing I will tell you about me, if I don't agree with you, if I don't, as they say in the hood, fuck with you, I will unfriend you. And I have hundreds of people that'll tell you that. Because I don't want to look at your stuff. I don't want to follow you. I don't want to see your shit. So if I'm done, I will unfriend you. So that way I'm not going to criticize you. It's just like, boop, But, so that's one thing, right? So, people criticize me for having the audacity, to present myself, in certain ways and to engage in certain types of activity on my social media account, So that's something that I face daily, So like to crystallize that, growing up in the hood, even as a kid, you get penalized for carrying your school books, because it don't look cool. You get penalized for doing your homework. You get penalized for wanting to have good grades. You get penalized for dreaming in the hood as a kid. Make fun of the little smart dude. You got to go home and do your homework, blah, blah, blah. As a young adult, I had some good things going on in my life. At one point, I was working out at Metro Airport, because I'm a hustler from the hood at that time, and I got a good job out at Metro Airport, and a lot of the hustlers used to fly in and out of there and see me working there, and they would criticize me, for having a job, and they was hustling. But out there, I was making $200 a day, which to some people ain't a lot of money, but to me, in the 80s, it was a lot of money. And so that, I was making about, we'll just say about $1,000 a week. And one of my friends had hooked me up with a townhouse to where I was only paying like a couple $100. You know what I mean? I swear to God. What was it? I think it was three. It might have been 2 bathrooms, but I think it might have been 3. But it was 1, 2, 3. I think it was 3 bedrooms, either 2 to 3 baths, 3 floors, basement, first floor, and second floor. 3 floors. And out in Belleville by the airport. And because of haterism, because I back then, the same as now. If I got 3 or 4 bedrooms, I'm not going to pay for all that by myself. It don't make sense. If I'm by myself, it don't make sense. I'm going to bring in a roommate, So, back then, my homies, we used to work together. Brian, Ryan, so I had roommates. Brian, I had to put this motherfucker out because he got a residential phone line in my mother's name, nigga. Like, motherfucker, what? Ronnie, I had to put this motherfucker out because this nigga kept hitting on my girls. The girls that I was fooling with would come back like, yo, your boy just, said blase splee, that's one, then another one like, hey, your boy called me, blah, blah, blah. So I had to put Ronnie out. So Ronnie motherfucking ass goes to the office of the place. The place wasn't in my name. It was a hookup, right? This nigga goes to the office and snitches, tells everything, bro. You know what I mean? So them motherfuckers sent me to court. And I'm thinking in my head like, well, they're going to at least give you 30 days to move, shit. The judge told me tomorrow, and the bailiff will be out there first thing in the morning, sir. Bro, I'm devastated, man. Right? I leave that joint, man, go to the gas station, because this is like in the 80s, that like 89, 90, man. I go to the gas station, get a paper, man. Like, I got to find a place, nigga, in 24 hours. But anyway, make a long story short, I got brought out of the townhouse back to the hood. This was like in the 80s. History repeats itself. I just got knocked out of a townhouse in Alafeta. Shit, I done got old. Alpharetta, Georgia. Beautiful townhouse. 3 bedrooms, 3 baths. Beautiful place. I got knocked out of there. Ended up having to come back to the hood. This is in 2017. Now it's 2018. The story I'm telling you about is how I got knocked out of a townhouse in 1989, 90, and had to go back to the hood. History repeating itself. So anyway, in the 80s, I go back to the hood. Dexter and Davison. Woo, it don't get no more hooded than that. And that's my heart. But at the time, it was a challenge, right? I accept all challenges, right? So I hit Dexter and Davison, right? little old red nigga in the middle of the jungle. While I'm there, I made a decision to go to vocational school, to get into the medical field at an entry-level position of medical assistant. In the hood, I decided that I wanted to put on an all-white nurse's uniform and leave my house every day in the hood and go to school to learn how to become a nurse, closer to, going down that path. I was criticized tremendously. Went with my white uniform on to go to school, I was called gay. I was like, oh, look at this nigga. You know what I mean? Right? But I wasn't disrespected. Even the women that asked me was I gay, it was more from a perspective of, they wanted to holler at a nigga, but they wasn't sure. Like, why are you, So, but the point I'm making is that the hood criticizes you as you try to improve yourself and better yourself. So I stood up against the hood then. When I chose to get into the medical field, which was the absolute best decision I made in my life, because after I graduated from that school, they placed me with 2 black doctors who happened to be Omega Psi Phi, Q dogs, Dr. Leroy Lang and Dr. Michael G. Taylor. And I learned so much from these guys. These guys taught me how to be a young man, and then they taught me how to be mature about manhood and to think about things, and they exposed me to a different quality of life. They took me to parties, they dressed me, they taught me how to walk, talk, stand, interact, you know what I mean? And I love them cats. And while working for them, I joined the basketball team there for the hospital, and I met my wife, had the only children that I have on this planet. And I lived almost 20 years. We lived in Florida in a 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom, beautiful built-in swimming pool, beautiful. All because of that decision I made in the hood. When I got knocked out of that townhouse and hit the hood, I made a decision. So fast forward to today, I got knocked out of Atlanta and I hit the hood. So as I am a character who has a variety of personalities that I choose to engage in to further my ambitious and political and personal beliefs, I get criticized for having the audacity to act like that and to say these things and to be this person and to do this and carry myself in this way. And what I want to say is that, fuck you motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Yeah, I absolutely do not regret having a voice, having an opinion, having the audacity to think outside the box. I absolutely do not regret that. And I would encourage anybody, please get out the box, get out the bubble. These people that you're trying to fit into and to appease and to have their approval, these people ain't shit. These people ain't shit. Appease you. Appease God. Appease your ancestors. Appease your spirit. Like me. And I'm going to tell you, it does separate you. It does give you space. You know what I mean? But when you get in that space, utilize it properly. So, as I'm saying to you, I do not regret my actions or anything of that nature. I don't. So, but, and the reason why is this. God damn it, I'm so mad. Today I could spit fucking fire. I'm in this beautiful state of Ohio. When I moved back here in November, one of the things that I discovered by accident, because hell, I didn't know. I lived down south for 20 years. In this beautiful state that I moved back into in November, when I went grocery shopping, I discovered that milk was a fucking $1 a gallon. And eggs was like, you could get 18 motherfucking eggs for, for like 50 cents. And that blew my fucking mind, man, because, down south, milk is like $4 a gallon. 18 eggs would run you like $2.30-something. So I'm like, wow, that's amazing, because things like that, cheaper prices for your dairy products, as a citizen, as a father, as a person trying to survive in this country, those things help you. That savings of like $5, $6, $7 a month, that helps you. That helps you. When gas is at $2 a gallon, or gas is cheap, that helps you. When your health insurance is affordable, to where you can actually afford it, and the benefits actually cover things, that helps you. When your auto insurance or your homeowner's insurance or your renter's insurance is affordable, it helps you. I'm so motherfucking mad today I could spit fire. I went to the motherfucking store. I went to Walmart, and the motherfucking milk is now, you might as well say $3 a gallon. When I can just remember when it was $1.08. How in the fuck is that making America great again? You fucking go after our neighbors, the goddamn Canadians, and I'm sorry that I'm talking like this to such beautiful neighbors. The first time I ever fucking visited Canada, I was 12 goddamn years old. It was on a church trip for selling goddamn candy in 1978. We went on a goddamn train, and we went to fucking Toronto. We stayed at the King Edward Hotel. It was the most amazing fucking experience of my life. In 1978, I had never seen a goddamn hotel with a mall in the basement. And the country was not prejudiced. As America. How the fuck do you attack our closest friend over some goddamn tariffs on a product line that's less than 0.1% of the world economy? You start a fight over something irrelevant, like dairy products. Just less than 0.1% of our GDP. And what happens? The goddamn milk is now $3 a gallon. That's hurting me, you, your grandmother, your grandkids, your grandfather, your sister, your brother, your auntie, your uncle. That's affecting all of us because of some dumb shit that this dumb motherfucker, that you dumb motherfuckers voted for. Man, I'm so motherfucking mad I could spit fire. How the fuck does your party elect someone that bragged about grabbing pussy, bragged about sexually harassing and forcing himself on women. He said he just walk up and kiss them, and he don't even know them. And they let him because he's a star. Kids by 3 different women, cheated on all the women. On his last wife, the wife that wore the I don't give a fuck jacket to the brown and beige babies that we love dearly. Cheated on her with a porn star that he then had to come back and pay to keep quiet. He has pictures with his porn star mistress and his pregnant wife together in one room. Mafia ties. Decades of established connection, actual evidence of mob ties. Most recently, Kremlin ties, direct ties to Vladimir Putin. Currently under investigation, was under investigation during the election because of illegal ties to the Kremlin, because of the influence that the Kremlin had on his finances, because of the influence that the Kremlin had on the results of his elections in 22 states. As a result of the Kremlin's interference, he was elected illegally. It's being allowed by white supremacist nationalists in this country with direct ties to the Kremlin, like the NRA. Hundreds of millions of dollars directly tied to the Kremlin to support Donald Trump illegally in a fraudulent election that's being allowed by the Supreme Court. During this process, they gave $742 billion to the military, $1.4 trillion to Wall Street. That's $3 trillion, rounded off. $3 trillion they stole in less than 2 years. $3 trillion they stole in less than 2 years. In less than 2 years, for no reason, he blew up our relationship with the G7, our allies around the world, blew it up. He blew up every peace agreement, every manufacturing agreement, every industrial agreement, NAFTA, foreign trade, world trade, trade war, for no reason. Blew it up. He's making suggestions that we should not obey the courts. We should not acknowledge the news. He's been classified as a habitual liar. It's been documented as of today that he's told upwards of about 5,000 verifiable lies. He just recently kidnapped 8,000 children and dispersed them across the country for no reason. His primary campaign strategy has become painfully clear. He's a racist. His whole campaign strategy right now, as I'm sitting here hot as a motherfucker, is pure racism. Attack black, brown, anybody that's not white, attack them. Anybody that's not white or male, attack them. So blacks, Hispanics, and women are under attack as a campaign strategy for this man who is a financial criminal, who won't show his records. You won't even ask to see him. You motherfuckers are turning a blind eye to all seven sins. All seven sins. All seven sins are under display in this motherfucking White House. And you motherfuckers turning a blind eye. And now milk is $3 a gallon. Premium gas is down there $4 a gallon in Ohio. God help the people down south where milk was already $4 a gallon. I'm scared to ask them motherfuckers what they paying. My motherfucking automobile insurance overnight, when this son of a bitch got elected, went from $70 a month to $200 a month. This motherfucker is telling you that the investigation into his corruption is a witch hunt, and that there's no collusion, when the investigators have arrested 5 to 7 people who then turned around and pled guilty and start cooperating. First of all, motherfucker, that you don't get arrested unless you commit a crime. Your national security advisor that holds the highest level of national security in terms of our interests, the person you chose was a criminal with direct ties to the Kremlin. We have pictures of him sitting, having dinner with Vladimir Putin. And you chose him and put him in the highest position over our national security, all of our secrets. The intelligence community led by Sally Yates ran to you and said, "Sir, this man is lying to you. We have the transcripts and the videos. He's a criminal." And even then, you left that man in his position for 2 weeks, not restricting his access to our most valuable secrets. Even as we learned that a crime had been committed by him and the Russians, you reluctantly fired him. And then the sanctions, the penalties that we wanted to impose on the Russians sat on your desk because you were not willing to impose those penalties and sanctions on the Russians. And then when we forced you to do that, the first thing you did was throw a party in the Oval Office for the Russians. And as we stood and watched in disbelief, as you put together this party, kicked all of our media experts out, and they took pictures, and you guys laughed and celebrated, you told them that you fired the director of the FBI. You told our enemies that you fired him because of the investigation into your relationship with them. And that by firing him, they had nothing to worry about. We okay. Your whole strategy now to get reelected or to win any type of election is pure racism. You've kidnapped 6,000 brown babies and you're holding them hostage for political beliefs. The President of the United States is a terrorist leader. The terrorist organization that he's running is called the Ku Klux Klan in America. And he's encouraging the Ku Klux Klan to kill, violate, denigrate, and terrorize brown and black people so that he can win a presidential, get reelected, so that his party, so that his cult following, people that he called followers, and said that he wanted them to bow and stand at attention like the North Korean dictators' followers. The President of the United States is a terrorist leader, just like Osama bin Laden, just like Saddam Hussein, just like the Taliban leaders. He's no different. He's a terrorist leader. And he's being sponsored by Russia. And he's wreaking havoc on the entire planet on the behalf and the behest of Russia. And as your living expenses go through the fucking roof, and as you sit at the table month after month trying to figure out how the fuck you gonna pay this and how the fuck you gonna pay that, I want you to think about that fucked up ass vote you did and how your stupid ass keep supporting a terrorist leader, a leader of a terrorist organization with direct ties to communists. And as my critics look at me and continue to criticize me for being a motherfucking man, having a broader perspective on life than just a narrow-ass, hood-related, dope-dealing, pill-popping, infestation, sex-having motherfucking... As you criticize me for believing in God and believing in this country and believing in democracy and believing in hope, as you criticize me for having the audacity to put words behind my ambitions and to reach out to people asking for support, asking for information, as you criticize me for trying to do something, not just to better myself, but to better my family and my friends, my community, and my country. As you criticize me, I just want to say thank you. Because your criticism is my motivation. Your actions is an example of where I don't want to be. Your behavior is an example of how far I've come. Your words do not fuel my car or pay my bills or feed my hunger pains or even wipe my ass after I shit. But your actions, your criticisms, your behavior, your words are an inspiration to me, personally. Because it shows me how far we have fallen and how far we have to go, you know. So, wow, man. We're in a constitutional crisis. Our country has been hijacked by a racist terrorist organization leader backed by a national political party of the United States called the GOP. They are complicit in this treasonous activity. All of them, according to our Constitution, are eligible for a firing squad. There is no greater violation that you can do to our Constitution, to the Statue of Liberty, to this flag, or to our God, but what has been done by the Republican Party. Shame on the Republican Party. Shame on the Republican Party. They have become a terrorist organization built on lies and deception and deceit and murder, bribery, corruption, fraud, perjury. Shame on the Republican Party and any